Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be having a discussion video about Yu-Gi-Oh's current game state. The reason why I wanted to make this video is this was sent into my replays, my email where I usually get your guys' replays and we commentate and we show off some cool combos and, interesting things with Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, anyways, this was sent in and I wanted to have a discussion video with you guys. The title of it was, "This is why I'm leaving Yu-Gi-Oh!" He's actually going to be quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of this game that he had. So anyways, let's go ahead and read what he had to say, and then we're going to go ahead and hop into the replay and then have a little discussion about the game in its current state. So anyways, this is what it says. "Sorry dude, but this duel that I'm going to show you has opened my eyes, made me see in details how unfair this game can be. As you can see in the replay, I couldn't even be able to play or take my turn and still lost a duel. Even if I filled my deck with hand traps, I wouldn't have gotten any of them because those cards in my hand are very important for my deck to work. The only cards I could change are Kaiju, Lightning Storm, Twin Twister, Super Poly, and Cybernetic Overflow, but I didn't get any of them. Conclusion, it would be better that I leave this game because losing the duel without being able to do anything to avoid it is very stupid and unfair. Goodbye, my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTuber, Azneyes. I am a subscriber and I hope you do well on your projects." Well, thank you, man. I'm glad that I am your favorite, but let's go ahead and actually check out why he's super upset and why he's deciding to leave the game because of this. And I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about this. And of course, we got to see the gameplay first and the reason why he felt like it was super unfair. So anyways, I'm guessing that he is the cyber player over here playing some cyber dragons. He's playing up against the Cardians. They actually got some recent newer support that's pretty insane. And I already saw the first card and I already know what's going to be going on. I actually did already watch the replay here because I was kind of curious why he's quitting the game because of one simple duel. Because that's pretty extreme to quit just off of just one game, right? I mean, there's a difference between quitting because something is currently meta, and sometimes people will come back to the game. So if you guys don't know what the opponent is doing here with the guy that's playing Cardians, he's using Synchronized Realm. This is a card that makes it so each time you synchro summon, you're going to burn your opponent for 500 points of damage. The new Cardian cards, the Super All-In, basically allows you to go completely off of synchros and extend your combos heavily. There's also a new Curtain Blossom card that lets you help out the deck a little bit more. Basically what it comes down to is Cardians can synchro lots and lots of times, and each time that he's going to be synchro summoning, he's going to burn his opponent for 500 points of damage. Now, there's a lot of different FTKs that have existed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Throughout its time course. The reason why he's quitting because of this one, I don't know. But heck, on my channel, I've covered tons and tons and tons of FTKs where, one player gets to play, the other player sits there and waits until they get Exodia and burned to death, or there's a lot of different ways you can win the game. And heck, you can even summon multiple copies of Quasar, Exodia them, and destroy all of their cards in their hand. That video was super popular. If you guys haven't seen that, I'm gonna link it down below. It's like the most insane way to win in Yu-Gi-Oh! It literally covers like everything in like one way to play a duel. You're winning multiple different ways, which is absolutely insane. But the thing is since he said he was a subscriber of mine, I've shown off lots of FTKs. How consistent is an FTK? Well, I mean, Frog FTK was a thing, and it was definitely seen in tournaments. It's not like an FTK is super out of the ordinary, and it happens. Sometimes you'll just get wrecked, but you know how you outplay them? As soon as they throw Royal Magical Library and start activating a bunch of spells, you just click on the X button, and then you don't have to deal with it. And I understand it is frustrating to deal with these situations where you don't have any interaction. Heck, the most popular video that I've done recently was titled, "This is why people leave Yu-Gi-Oh!" I mean, it's over 500,000 views. If you guys haven't seen that, I'll link it down below. It's kind of the same idea here. And even going into the deck, because he mentioned he can take out a few cards and run other things, he just simply didn't draw his hand traps. I mean, he does have Impermanence, he does have Ash Blossom, and he does happen to have Kaiju. And there's other cards you can play like Lightning Storm that can really deal with turn 1 boards. But what if there's an FTK? What if you never have the option to play one card because something like that exists? It's frustrating. I definitely understand the feels. I've gotten so frustrated. There was a time where I was playing in a tournament, and this was back when we had the loop with windups, and with Avarice they would just loop everything and they would say go, and it's just like you get so frustrated that you really want to just walk away from the table. Or if someone goes ahead, back in the day when plants were super meta, someone would be like, okay, roll tribute, you just lose all your cards in your hand. And then what do? It's so dumb to the point you're like, dude, I don't even want to play this game. And if you even look at like League of Legends, Overwatch, this happens with a lot of games where you feel like you cannot do anything with stuns, crowd control, and people feel frustrated, and that's why they leave the game. I'm going to go ahead and just hop into we're just going to go ahead and spectate here while I go ahead and rant and talk a little bit more about this. But the thing is that you have Game 2, you have Game 3, right? So you have the options potentially to go ahead and play in another, duel. But let's be honest here, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh games are really based off of the turn 1 experience. There's just so much decks that just negate or stop you from even being able to interact. And it's basically, I could basically reiterate everything I mentioned in my video of This Is Why People Quit Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day when I played Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of times a really good turn 1 play would be something like set Sangan, and then you would set up for your combos next turn. Nowadays, as far as card games go, if you look at any card game, Duelist, one of my favorites, Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, any online card game, they have a mana system to keep the game in a state where there's a beginning. You have your early cards, your mid cards, and your late game cards. Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't really have that. The whole emphasis on Yu-Gi-Oh! Now versus previously, we're setting up, get your combo pieces, and then go ahead and make your plays. Back in the day with like X-Sabers, you'd set Dark Soul, or if you open are really lucky, you have the Rescue Cat. But for the most part, X-Sabers was not like an instant OTK deck. Yeah, I know Fall Troll kind of was able to do some crazy stuff, and there's a Regigura loop with 1-for-1. But like, for the most part, it wasn't a game where they would just like summon everything and negate every single thing that you do. I mean, yeah, they can go Hyunlei, pop multiple cards, but this is back in the day when people actually played Bottomless Trap Hole. But at the same time, it wasn't a game that did that. It didn't make like the super boss monster turn 1 like this guy's doing over here. Heck, I could go spectate majority of games, and I would say more than likely one player is having fun while the other player is sitting back there thinking, I'm frustrated. That's usually what it comes down to. And again, because you're quitting versus this one game that you experience, there is game 2s and 3s. If you really want, you can play the match. And I understand a lot of people, they just don't have the patience for this game. And that's something I've mentioned several times while I was like live streaming. I don't have the patience to play, Yu-Gi-Oh! For 10 hours a day like I used to. And I think that it just comes down to just being burnt out. And it's natural for anyone to get burnt out of any game. And the thing that you should do is just take a break, play some other games so you don't get burnt out. If you're not enjoying the game, the point of the game is to have fun. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not a game where you should be thinking about like, I'm going to win this next tournament, therefore that's my food for the next month. Because there are people like that in other video games, whether it's Fortnite or whatever the case may be, where that tournament, them winning or losing, depends on their contract with an esports org, and that matters a lot. You can be dropped from teams. But the thing is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't really facilitate that. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is meant to be more so about fun. There's not enough money or cash flow in tournament prize pools, even though I know there's no tournaments right now, but there's not enough in that to make it matter that much. At the end of the day, you should be playing for fun. And I understand that you're not having fun because you're not playing the game. That's totally understandable. And the thing is that you could just go GG, go next. And I used to hate the idea of telling my opponent, GG, give him a handshake, even if they FTK'd me. I always hated saying, yeah, good game, I just got FTK'd by Exodia. Why would I want to shake his hand? That's dumb. But it's being more mature about it, and you just say GG and you move on. That's just the way it goes, and that's just the way that this game is currently played. Maybe it'll change in the future, but literally summoning this one card could be game already for some players. I mean, people complain about this all the time. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if the other guy goes, I'm out, quit. Because once this card comes out, a lot of decks simply cannot deal with this. It's one of those like super boss monsters, cannot be targeted, cannot be destroyed, and then it gains enough attack to be able to get over pretty much everything. And once it comes out, it's popping things, it's doing a lot of work, right? And I understand that losing one game to something stupid, right? And there's a lot of like unfair or OP cards just in the game in general. But the thing is that you have game 2s and 3s, and that's usually where you're supposed to be able to kind of come back. But then you also have to look at the side deck. Sometimes one side deck card, like let's say that you're playing Pendulums and your opponent is playing, it doesn't even matter, and they summon first turn a Chariot Beast, and you're like, okay, I lost to them. I'm going to go ahead and go first next turn, whatever. You get hand trapped too hard, they happen to have a card that stops you in your play, and then, you know, you go ahead and say, okay, pass to them. They flip up anti-spell fragrance, and maybe you just didn't have a scale. You couldn't set up. Whatever the case may be, it still feels bad, even though like you were like, okay, I'm going to go first this next turn. I still think going first is very powerful in Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, there are a lot more cards that have been coming out to kind of combat this and deal with hand traps. With that new card that literally can be Pot of Greed, or it can be Change of Heart, or it can be, Confiscation. Like, it has the options to be like any card if your opponent activates a monster effect. They're trying to make this game a little bit more interactive in that sense, but at the same time, if my opponent goes first and let's say I go ahead and hand trap them, they're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna look at your entire hand and just rip a card out. It's frustrating, and I understand, but that's just the way the game is played. And I don't want to say, if you don't like the game, then go play something else, but the thing is that, again, keep in mind, this game is supposed to be all about fun, and if you're not having fun, I could really recommend you to maybe come back in a different format when the game suits your playstyle. Because again, different times, you know, there are different ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, once this card gets up to an insane amount of attack, this deck might not have that many options to deal with this board. Is he playing the Machina? Okay, so he's playing like the Machina variant. It's going to be very difficult to get rid of this card for the most part. But we'll see. I mean, you know, you never know. And sometimes that's the cool part about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is you'll play this one kaiju or this one thing, and you get over that card. And that feels really good. It really does when your opponent summons something that you normally like, you're like, oh my gosh, this card, right? Like back in the day, it was like, oh my gosh, he summoned Xian. Oh my gosh, he summoned Quasar. But then you get over it, and it's that satisfaction that you can feel once you are able to defeat what normally would be seen as something that would be too difficult to get out of. And especially when you can outplay your opponent. But again, since you're a subscriber of mine, I would definitely say that I've uploaded a lot of FTKs. Are they going to be able to pull it off 100% of the time? No. But at the end of the day, it still feels bad, and I understand your frustration with getting FTK'd. So he's going to go ahead and go Jug Libe over here. And look, it's going to gain 2,000 attack and defense over here, and he might be able to get over it unless he happens to have another card. So he's able to go ahead and get over that card. Again, I don't know what the last card is, but he's already going to battle phase, and he's going to go ahead and get over this one card. Like I said, if there's a card that your deck cannot deal with, or you don't want to play up against, again, a FTK-oriented deck, you can host games and say no FTKs. Obviously, if you're playing in the ranked section of the game, there is no options for that. I guess, technically, DevPro used to be able to title those anyways, but nonetheless, it's just something that you're going to have to deal with. You don't have control over what your opponent is always playing in the rank section. But if you just want to have fun, and again, that's the point of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is to have fun, and I keep on reiterating that. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I'm playing like Overwatch or like League of Legends. I get frustrated to the point where I don't want to play the game, and it's normal to feel like that. It really is. And the thing is just take a break, play another game, or come back later when something else, it piques your interest. If you're just playing to kill time, again, it can lead to frustration when you're not winning those games, and I definitely understand that. But anyways, I hope this helps you out, man, and I hope, you know, this gives you guys some more insight to the way the game is played, because, again, play games 2 and 3. Are they going to be able to consistently FTK you? Maybe. It's just part of the game, and, you know, you can just laugh it off, say GG, or just, you know, play another like, just close out of that game, just say GG, leave the game, and then just play a different, like, just maybe play a different deck, maybe run more hand traps. I know, again, with the hand traps, there is that anti-hand trap card. There's, you know, it's not called by the grade, but there's one, if you hand trap your opponent, they can Pot of Greed, or they can look at your entire hand and be like, okay, I know what your deck you're playing, and they disrupt your plays over here. But this guy, he's got a Gizmek over here. Maybe he's going to be able to summon Grand Madra Daiza and get his monster up to, you know, thousands attack and just one-shot his opponent. You know, there are cards and there are decks that can do that. But if you're playing certain decks, like, I don't know, Crystal Beast here, and you're upset that you're losing to, like, some variant of, like, Shadal's in, you know, 2020, it might be a good time to rethink, you know, your deck choices. Or you could go ahead and say, like, low-tier duels only. Or you could say, you know, no Synchro, no Fusion, no XYZ. There are still people that host games like that. So go ahead and do this. You might be able to come back from this situation. But I don't know. I feel like I ranted long enough. But I'm curious to know how you guys feel about that. Because, again, quitting from one duel, it just seems like, shoot, man. You know how many times I've gotten FTK'd? You know how many times everyone's gotten FTK'd? I don't think there's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player that has never gotten FTK'd. Except for Pure DW. Because once he sees that, he's clicking out of the bots. But, yeah. Like I said, you can do that. Look at the other guy made a super boss monster. You know, the the dragon red eyes. He was able to get over it. Now he had a boss monster. Now he's able to get over it. It really comes down to just playing better decks, honestly. At the end of the day, that's what it is. I mean, you can't go in expecting to win every single duel. But, again, I get it. You don't want to go ahead and go in and have your opponent play while you're sitting there like, really? I get it, man. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, drop a like on it. And I hope this helps you out, man. Again, the SLAYDRA player, I censored his email because I don't know. But I appreciate you being a subscriber, and I appreciate you saying that I am your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber. But again, just keep playing the game, and if that one duel was your last one, I hope you enjoyed your stay. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next video, which probably won't be like this, but I think it needed to be addressed though, because I understand it is frustrating. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one. I'm signing out. Peace.